The Spanish Inquisition is a series of sketches in Monty Python's Flying Circus, Series 2, Episode 2, first broadcast the 22nd of September 1970, parodying the real-life Spanish Inquisition. This episode is itself entitled The Spanish Inquisition. The sketches are notable for the principal catchphrase, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition." The end of the sketch uses music from the composition Devil's Galop by Charles Williams. Plot synopsis. This is a recurring sketch always predicated on an unrelated sketch in which one character mentions that they didn't expect a Spanish Inquisition, often in irritation at being questioned by another. At this point, the Inquisition, consisting of Cardinal Ximenez and his assistants, Cardinal Biggles and Cardinal Fang, burst into the room to the sound of a jarring musical sting. Ximenez shouts with a particular and high-pitched emphasis on the first word, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition." After entering, the Inquisition trio frequently get bogged down in recitations. In the first appearance, Ximenez has trouble with listing the weapons, always forgetting to mention another one and having to begin the list over again. After several attempts, Ximenez states that he'll come in again, and herds the Inquisition back off the set. The straight man repeats the cue line, the Inquisition bursts back in, and the introduction is tried anew. This is repeated 2 or 3 times before Ximenez gives up, and decides to skip the introductions. Ximenez runs into the problem of not being able to torture anyone effectively. When he calls for the rack, Cardinal Biggles produces a dish-drying rack. When strapping this to the victim produces no effect, they move on to the soft cushions, in which the victim is poked repeatedly with fluffy pillows. When this fails as well, Ximenez forces the victim to sit in the comfy chair and states that the victim will get only a cup of coffee at 11 o'clock. At the end of the show, in court charades, the inquisitors are caught by surprise when a defendant in session at the Old Bailey says, "Blimey, I didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition." The whole court rises and looks expectantly at the witness entrance door, only for nothing to happen. As the closing credits roll, the inquisitors race to the Old Bailey by double-decker bus, to the tune of Devil's Galop, only to burst in and shout, "Nobody expects the Span," just as the words "the end" appear. In the Monty Python live stage show, the sketch ends when Ximenez orders Biggles to torture the victim by giving her a glass of cold milk from the fridge. When Biggles opens the door, the man in the fridge emerges and begins singing the Galaxy song to the victim, while the Inquisition exit through the fridge. Related sketches. Cardinal Ximenez briefly appears 2 episodes later in a vox pop, again displaying difficulty counting. Later in that episode, during the police constable Panem sketch, the policeman tells a chemist, "One more peep out of you and I'll dare you for heresy," with the chemist responding that he didn't expect the Spanish Inquisition, except that instead of the Spanish Inquisition arriving, PC Panem simply tells the chemist to shut up. Precurses. The number of weapons joke echoes a similar joke in the first episode, The Man and the Hour, of the BBC sitcom Dad's Army, broadcast in July 1968. Captain Mannering says, "We have one invaluable weapon in armory, ingenuity and improvisation," to which Private Fraser replies, "That's 2. In popular culture, the popularity of Monty Python's sketch led to numerous references to it in other popular media. The first such instance was in issue number 3 of the comic book titled Batman Family, where the story Isle of a Thousand Thrills borrowed the scenario of a land where anything anybody thinks of is quickly brought to life. In response to visitors' anxious questions before the nature of the situation is understood, Batgirl replies, "Calm down everyone. We haven't had time to wonder about all those questions." I didn't expect some kind of Spanish Inquisition. Immediately 6 inquisitors appear, one of whom cries, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, because our chief weapon is surprise." Many other examples have since followed.